USC's on a 4-game win streak after a 45-24 victory over California Thursday night with Zach Helfand and Dylan Hernandez. I'm Lindsay Theory for the Los Angeles Times, and it was a career night, a record night for several Trojans players. Dory Jackson, Ronald Jones, and Aca'Cedric Ware.
Yeah, Ronald Jones was the big player tonight. He was filling in for Justin Davis, who's got the ankle sprain, hasn't played the past 2 games. Rojo rushed for 223 yards, which is the most rushing yards since, I don't know if we're allowed to say this in the Coliseum, but since Reggie Bush.
That's not an NCAA violation on Zach Helfand. Sam Darnold, Dylan, he's been a guy that's really progressed since he took over the starting job. He had another outstanding performance. However, he did fumble twice. He threw an interception, which he just called a dumb play. But the sky really seems to be the limit for this new USC quarterback.
Yeah, just the way he looks on, just the raw tools, right? I mean, aside from the performance.
Is he a 5-tool guy?
In baseball parlance, yes, he would be, Now, that said, I'm not really sure what to make of the performance today. If we're going to be honest, this is almost like arena football, right? Just with the way the pace was, I'm not really sure we can really gauge much from this. And also the fact that Cal was coming off that short week. Sonny Dykes, their coach, was not happy about that. And obviously, it wasn't just that Cal was coming off a short week, but SC's coming off a bye week. So didn't really look like the best place to evaluate. But yeah, I do think these kind of questions about, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, who's the better quarterback, I think this is going to become a topic, not that we're going to be talking about, not just the rest of this year, but also all next year.
I think it's a topic Dylan's going to make run for a long, long time. Zach, it's hard to, we would be remiss if we didn't mention that California did have the 3rd worst defense in the nation coming into this game. So how do you kind of gauge where USC's at with a lopsided win like this?
They did what they were supposed to do against the team like this. It doesn't tell you if they're good enough to compete with Washington. If they turn the ball over 3 times, they won't beat Washington. I guess we know that. But they did what they're supposed to do. You can't really ask too much more than a win by 3 touchdowns, right? They rushed for almost 400 yards. That's a positive sign.
USC lost 3 games to start the season. It looks like, Dylan, that they're kind of climbing, perhaps peaking, as they would say, at the right time. But what does Clay Helton and his staff need to do to fill this Coliseum once again?
Win a national championship, maybe 2. I mean, unfortunately, that's the standard, that the city's going to hold its teams to. And it's not just USC. I mean, it's the Lakers, it's the Dodgers. The championships are kind of what the fans expect. You don't do that, this place isn't going to fill up.
And the attendance was
60-something thousand.
Low 60s, I think. I can't remember the last time. I think it would go back like a decade or
I read that it was 2002. Now, Zach, as we head into November, can you believe it? October's already over, almost over. This was supposed to be another tough part of USC's schedule. October was supposed to be the time when they were able to kind of develop who they are. Do you think this team has developed its identity as it goes into this November part of the schedule, which also doesn't look nearly as tough at this point of the year as it did back in August?
Yeah, well, just to that point, their schedule has gotten a lot easier. We thought this was, in the preseason, it looked like it was the hardest schedule in the country. Right? Now, Notre Dame stinks. They're bad. Oregon is maybe worse. Stanford is not a good team.
Right.
So there's
which they already played Stanford and lost to Stanford.
Yeah. So that doesn't look good now. But their schedule really isn't as hard as we thought it was going to be. It's still.
You didn't mention UCLA. What do they look like?
UCLA is maybe even worse than Oregon. Those are 4 teams. That's a lot of teams. That's a third of their schedule that we thought was going to be really good and isn't. But as far as the identity of the team, it's Sam Darnold. He changed the whole complexion of this team. I know the defense has stepped up a lot, and that has nothing to do with Sam. But Darnold has really changed the team. That's their identity right now. They're going to go as far as he goes.
So the Trojans will have another Saturday to watch college football to see if they can move up in that Pac-12 South standings after a victory over California. With Zach and Dylan, I'm Lindsay for the Los Angeles Times.